All right, if you're a developer trying to use AI, I need you to just forget everything you think you know about prompting. This isn't about writing slightly better prompts. No, we're talking about building better systems. So let's dive into this new way of thinking.
Let me just ask you this straight up. Does it feel like you're just spinning your wheels with AI? You know, you're constantly watching tutorials, you're chasing the new shiny tool every week, but you're not actually shipping anything, right? Well, that's what we call the AI learning trap, and trust me, you are not alone.
And we see three main groups of people falling right into this trap. First up, you've got the vibe coder. This is the person who can whip up some really cool-looking stuff with AI, but when it breaks, they have no idea how to debug it or structure it properly. Then you've got your classic solid developer. Great coder, but they're still doing everything by hand, stuck in the old ways. And of course, there's the newbie. They know the basics, but they are just completely drowning in a sea of tutorials, and they've never actually shipped a real project. Sound familiar? Maybe you see a little bit of yourself in one of those?
Okay, so let's dig into what this trap actually is. Because, you can't get out of it if you don't know you're in it.
And this slide, this really lays it all out. Over on the left, that's the hype cycle. That's where most people are stuck. Chasing new tools every week, tweaking superficial prompts, just getting lost in theory. It's exhausting. But on the right, that's where we want to be. Building an effective system. It's about depth, it's about orchestrating entire workflows, and actually getting things done in the real world. It's all about moving from that frantic, chaotic activity to real, focused progress.
And this, right here, this is the core idea. Look, it's not about finding some magical, perfect AI tool. It never has been. It's about designing a smart system that can use any tool effectively. The real power isn't in the hammer. It's in the hands of the architect holding it. So, the big question is, how do we get out of this trap? Well, it all starts with a huge mindset shift. You have to stop thinking of yourself as a prompter and start seeing yourself as an architect. And this is the new role. This is what you're aiming for, the Agentic Architect. So what the heck is that? It means you are the one in charge. You're not doing the grunt work anymore. You're designing and orchestrating entire systems of AI agents to do all the heavy lifting for you. That frees you up to focus on the big picture, the high-level decisions. Think of it this way. You become the director of the movie, not just an actor reading a few lines from a script.
So let's be super clear about this. Stop obsessing over finding the perfect prompt. The real game changer, the real power, comes from stepping up into that architect role. That is how you're actually going to 10x your output, for real.
Okay, so this journey is going to look a bit different for everyone, right? It all depends on where you're starting from. So let's break it down for those three developer types we met earlier. All right, let's look at the roadmap for each of these folks. So if you're that vibe coder, your biggest hurdle is that you're missing the core engineering fundamentals. Your goal? To use AI as a kind of super-powered pair programmer to help you become a real, solid software developer. Now, if you're already a seasoned software developer, your trap is that you're stuck doing everything manually. Your mission is to evolve into an AI orchestrator and seriously, save yourself like 30+ hours a week by automating the grunt work. And for the newbie who's just totally overwhelmed, the goal is simple. Cut through all that noise and become a real builder. Someone who actually ships real projects and gets real feedback. You see the pattern here? It doesn't matter where you start, the path is always about evolving into a more powerful, more effective creator.
So, to make this big shift, the way you learn has to change too. The old way of just passively watching a bunch of courses, that's not going to cut it anymore.
And this quote just nails it. See, we're not talking about courses where you just sit back and watch. We're talking about a lab, a place where you're actively building, you're experimenting, you're getting your hands dirty and seeing what actually works in the real world.
So, what's actually in a lab environment like this? What makes it different? Well, first, you get winners reports. These are basically curated breakdowns of tools that have actually been tested, so you don't have to waste your time on the hype. Second, you get a workflows library. Think of it like ready-to-use AI agent personas and setups. You're not starting from a blank page every time. Third, live builds. You get to watch and even join in as real projects are built from scratch. You see the whole process. And finally, the agentic stack. This is a proven, no-nonsense toolkit that you know is ready for production. It's all about application over theory, every single time.
So, the whole philosophy behind this is really about one thing: leverage. It's about using expert testing as a shortcut. You get to skip all the hype and all the dead ends and just focus on what actually works. It means you can spend your time building instead of just filtering through endless noise.
Okay, so we've got the mindset, we've got the right environment. But what does this transformation actually look like step by step?
Let's map out a real, tangible 6-month path from beginner to boss.
So in months 1 and 2, you're all about the foundation. You set up your very first agent workflow, and this is the most important part, you actually ship an AI-assisted project. You get a win on the board. Then months 3 and 4 are for acceleration. Now you're building real case studies. You're starting to see those massive time savings, like getting back 10 or more hours every single week. And by months 5 and 6, you reach authority. You're so comfortable with this stuff that you can actually lead live sessions and become a recognized agentic architect in the community. It's a clear path from just learning to actually leading.
And this really brings us back to the most important idea of all. Look, you're not here just to learn stuff and collect certificates. You're here to build stuff. The only thing that matters is the output, what you create. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. When you look at your future, what do you see? Do you see yourself spending your career just getting a little bit better at talking to the machine, or do you see yourself as the one conducting the entire orchestra? Because that choice between being a prompter and being an orchestrator, that's probably going to define the entire next chapter of your career.
So right about now, you're probably thinking, okay, that's cool, but who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? And that's a fair question. It's really important for you to know that this stuff doesn't come from some textbook. It comes from years of being in the trenches, doing the work.
It all starts with this number, 10. A full decade of commercial development experience. And that decade, it's been spent building with stuff like React and Next.js from some pretty serious clients. We're talking everything from complex healthcare platforms to giants like Novartis and even a few MBA teams. So I'm not some guy who just learned to code last year and decided to sell a course. I'm in the weeds, using these exact AI agent systems on real-world commercial projects every single day.
It all really boils down to this one simple idea, this core philosophy. When you combine the strategic mind and the quality standards of a senior developer with the raw and sane execution speed of AI, well, that's when you get this incredible synergy. It's a formula that lets you and your team ship more, way faster, and at a higher quality.
And so I'm super excited to announce that the Agentic Architect Lab is officially open, right now. We're building this community from the ground up, which means there is an early access price available, but, that price isn't going to last forever. So it really is time to make a decision. You can keep doing what you've been doing, you can stop watching that endless fire hose of tutorials that never leads to you actually doing anything, or you can make a change. You can start building, start shipping, and start that real transformation for yourself inside the lab. The choice is yours. If you're ready to stop being just a prompter and you want to become a real architect, go ahead and click the link you see on the screen to join the lab. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you build.